Alright, welcome back. Today I'm going to walk through my 416 Upper setup, kind of why I have this rifle set the way it is, kind of my thoughts on this platform. So starting with the lower, I used a Knights lower instead of the traditional HK lower because at the time the PMags were not compatible with the HK mag profile. So what HK did was they kind of made the mag well a little straight out to prevent debris from ingressing, which is not a problem with the NATO spec mags that it was designed for. With a PMag at the time, it wasn't, but now not an issue. So feel free to go with your HK lower. I have a Knights 2-stage trigger in here. Big thing with that is that it being the HK upper, it needs a mil-spec hammer in order to deactivate the firing pin safety that they incorporated into the bolt carrier group, which does not exist in a typical GI AR type setup. I have the Knights ambi safety with the non-ambi ambi side installed because I have this Sierra Precision kind of like big chunky grip. I've come back to this after a while because I really do like it for doing like precision type stuff. I can get my thumb here, and even when my thumb is not on the opposite side, I have a very consistent kind of like hand-filling grip. So I'm giving it a shot again. I found I really don't do that much stuff offhand, and even if I did, this isn't really slowing me down. One thing I don't like, massive grip cavity, but there's no lid down here, so you can't really store anything in there. And it's a little bit slick, so I just threw some bike inner tube cut into like Ranger bands on the grip here. I would find one of these grips, they're like $30, and I just give it a shot. On the back end, again, kind of going with the thick mantra here, we have this Stop Mod style stock. Again, I just really like this profile. Gives me a nice consistent cheek weld, and that's kind of the name of the game when you want to shoot quickly and accurately, right? Being consistent. So consistent grip, consistent trigger placement, consistent cheek weld, right? Good combination. QD socket on the end for my sling, QD socket on the castle nut, right? So I can go 2 midpoints. I could right now if I wanted to. On the Geisley rail, right, they made this awesome point right here, building QD right near the barrel nut, which is great. I think they should do that on every rail. And I really like how it's kind of like up here at, it's like 1 and 11 o'clock instead of directly on the side. And that was something they did for this rail, and for whatever reason, they just didn't carry it forward. And I wish they had. That was a really good feature. Speaking of the sling, I also put a sling point on the far end of the rail. So I just put that piece of Picatinny section on the SMR rail and slapped QD point there, so I can do some kind of like traditional sling supported work with this rifle, which is a big deal. It's also a big deal for just walking around with it. So I can sling it here, and now I can tighten it up. I can just walk around like this pretty much all day, and it's very well balanced. So while I do like having it kind of mid-mounted for mobility, at some point you're going to have to just walk around with this rifle. Maybe you don't need to be kind of like at the ready. Up to the upper here, we kind of talked about the handguard. Huge fan of this Geisley rail. Sad to say they're going to an M-lock rail now, which I don't think is as ergonomic, but hey, whatever, it's fine, we'll all survive. I got my Knights backups, nothing too crazy here, front and rear. I did mount it backwards, quote unquote, up front, because I want to be able to take my thumb and throw it right there, kind of index it in front of the pressure pad and not get stabbed on my front side post. I wanted at least one rifle that just has just a T1 on it, or a T2 in this case, and this rifle being kind of heavy, it's like 10 pounds as it is, was a really good candidate for just a red dot. But with the T2, the 2-minute dot, it's an aim point, right? So there's really nothing to say about it other than it's good, there's nothing wrong with it. Knights battery cap, so I have 2 batteries in there, so effectively I have enough batteries in this rifle to keep the optic on for 10 years straight. And hopefully in 10 years we'll have something better than a 5.56 gun. This is the spur mount. It's their HRT mount. I think it's like a 1.6 height. It's like a little bit higher than standard co-witness. So that combined with the higher HK rail basically gives me like a lower 1/3 co-witness, which is just pretty good. I'm probably the only person who still has, you know, the little hand knobs on it instead of just the bolts, and that's fine. Like being able to take them off. I have them outboard, not inboard, so they won't snag or poke me or anything like that. My light here is the Surefire dual fuel. I'm a big fan of this light. You know, it's 1500 lumens, which is pretty good. Has a pretty good throw. The pressure pad, and it really tucks in quite nice on this rail. And then on the muzzle, we have the Surefire closed flash hider. Big fan of that over the 4-prong or 3-prong, just because it's quiet and there's no ping. Okay. Pros to this rifle: super accurate, super reliable, super durable. Cons: heavy, expensive, a little more recoil impulse, but I've never found that slowed me down in anything practical. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I love talking about these kind of things. Hope to do some more videos like this for you. Thanks.